Shalom, brethren, and welcome to the End Times Fellowship channel. Today we're looking at chapter 6 of the book of Revelation. Just as a little reminder of what we studied in chapter 5, remember John saw the scroll sealed with 7 seals. And only the Lamb, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, was worthy to open the scroll. And now in chapter 6, we see the Lamb opening the seals on the scroll. Remember, he was worthy to open the scroll. Now he is opening those seals on the scroll. He is opening the seals on the scroll. He took on the right hand of him who sat on the throne. Let's read verse 1 to 2. Chapter 6, verse 1 to 2. Now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying with a voice like thunder, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a white horse. He who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him. And he went out conquering and to conquer. That was chapter 6, verse 1 to 2. So there was a white horse. Once the Lord opened the first seal, there was a white horse, and there was also a rider on the white horse, meaning it was not just the horse and the rider. And the rider had a bow, and the crown was given to him. And he went out conquering and to conquer. So I just want to explain a little about the horse that was there. It was a white horse, meaning white is generally understood as it is the color of peace. But let's continue. So the rider here is referred to as a he, which is clear that this is talking about a man. The one who was riding the horse was a man. Hence, it is referred by a he. And then there was this rider had a bow. That means a bow is a war weapon. But it says nothing about arrows. But he saw a bow. Normally, when you go to war, you will have a bow and an arrow. But this time, it was only a bow, which may mean war, but not a physical one. That might be the meaning of this bow without an arrow. It might mean there is war, but it's not a physical war. And again, it might mean false peace. Remember, the color is white, and the rider has a bow, but not an arrow. It might mean false peace. It will appear as if there's no violence or he is not fighting anyone. And hence he's coming in a white horse and with a bow, but no arrow. It may also mean false peace. That means it means deception. Its purpose would be to deceive them instead of bringing the real peace, but it brings deception instead. And again, the crown was given to him. What does that mean? Crowns are for kings. So this man, it shows that this man, remember we said it is a man because it referred to as a he. This man who is riding that white horse will be a king or is a king. And that kingship is given to him by God because it says the crown was given to him. Who gave the man the crown? That means it was God. So it means the Lord allowed him to be king or allowed his kingship. And why would God do that? That means there's a purpose that the Lord wants to fulfill by doing this. And it says he was conquering and to conquer. That means in whatever conquest he was successful because he says he was conquering and to conquer, which gives us an idea again that this conquering is in twofold. There was the conquering that this white horse was doing, and there is also a future conquest, meaning by the time these seals were opened, there's a first seal, he will be conquering, and then there is a future conquest that might not be explained here in the seals, but a coming conquest. Hence it says conquering and to conquer. We can refer also to the book of Daniel, but I'm not going to spend much time there because we're still going to read about this in the upcoming chapters. So, brethren, I believe that this white horse is the man or the being or the person that we know as the Antichrist. And I know that term is not mostly used by the Bible, but is generally known as the Antichrist. The Bible uses the term beast most of the time. Yeah, it is the beast in the upcoming chapters of the Revelation. So it's the same beast that we read about in Revelation 13. And also, he comes in so many names, or in so many titles. But for now, let's just focus on the one that is used in Revelation 13, which is the beast. And then some know this man as the man of lawlessness. But let's just continue. Remember, there is a video that I did on this channel. It is titled The Antichrist. Yeah, that is the title of the video. It's titled The Antichrist. It's the same. That is why I believe this white horse is the Antichrist. But it is before the Antichrist really take his role. But it's the same man. Meaning he comes here, we see him now, we're still going to see him in the future. Hence, then it was saying he was conquering and to conquer. We're still going to see the future conquest. And that future conquest of the Antichrist, we're going to see it clearly in Revelation chapter 13 when we get there. And let's read verse 3 to verse 4. We've read about the first horse and what it will do. It will seem peaceful, and but there will be war at the same time, meaning that he will conquer in the name of peace. Hence, he is in a white horse, and now it's clear that he will be conquering and to conquer. And let's read verse 3 to verse 4, another seal. And then, when he opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature saying, "Come and see." Another horse, very red, went out, and it was granted to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, and that people should kill one another. And there was given to him a great sword. Now on the second seal, the horse, remember the first one was white, this one is a red, it's a fiery red horse. And red normally symbolizes war, maybe bloodshed, but war. And now this horse, it was granted, sorry, not a horse, it was granted to the rider of this horse to take peace from the earth. And again, who granted this rider to take peace from the earth? It is the Lord, as we've explained with the first seal. And to take peace from the earth and people killing one another with a sword. This means there will be war, there will be persecution, there will be conflicts. That is how peace gets taken from the people or from the earth, because of war. For instance, the wars that are going on now as we speak, it's taking peace from those areas. So this horse will be taking peace, not just in one area. It says peace on earth, not just one area, brethren. Don't think that these things that are happening in other countries will not happen to you, or it will not affect you. Once this horse starts riding, it says peace on earth, meaning there will be wars, not just a war. There will be wars, there will be persecution, there will be conflicts throughout or all over the earth. So it's clear, brethren, that these seals are, as the Lord is opening these seals, there are events that take place as he opens events. Some events are listed that will take place, and then when you go to the next one, at the different events, for instance, will take place. And it's very clear, the Lord is putting it clearly in here what will happen. People killing one another, conflicts, and all those other wars that we will see in the future, and some have started. And from verse 5 to 6, let's read. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine. That was verse 5 to 6, the opening of the third seal. What do we see once the third seal is open? A black horse. And the color black is normally interpreted as, in fact, here, as famine. There will be hunger or famine. And the rider had a pair of scales in his right hand. And like we read, there was a quart of wheat for a denarius. This represents famine or famine, whichever way you pronounce it. That means there will be famine in the land, or on the earth. There will be famine. Prices of food will skyrocket. Things, for instance, that you used to buy for a very small amount, now that amount will double, or in fact not even double, maybe times 5. But the prices of food will skyrocket. And he says, do not harm the oil and the wine. That means even though there will be famine, there will still be rich people. Meaning that because oil and wine, it's only rich people that are represented there. So there will still be rich people. And the question we should be asking now, what could cause the famine? And amongst other things, is war. Famine, normally it is a result of war. We've read in the second seal that there will be war. And then if there is war also results in famine, because if there's a war in areas, or in an area, who will be cultivating, for instance? There won't be time for that. Each and every person will be taking care of their own families, making sure that they are protected. So war results in famine. And also the transportation will cease, transporting food from one place to another. Even if there is some food left, there will be, those will cease because of the wars. So famine is also one, war is also one of the things that could cause famine. Verse 7 to 8. When he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, come and see. So I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him. And power was given to them over a fourth of the earth, to kill with a sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. So again, brethren, in verse 7 to 8, we hear of another seal that was opened, which is the fourth seal. And that color of that horse was pale. Pale is a greenish color. It was pale, and the rider on that horse was Death. And there was Hades, is Death, and Hades followed with him, meaning it was following after Death. And now, if we can look at this Death, if it says the rider was Death, what does that mean? It means there will be death, physical death, not just spiritual death. There will be death as a result of that pale horse that is released by opening that seal. When that horse is riding, the rider on the head is called Death. That means there will be physical death. And when it says Hades followed with him, Hades has to do with souls. That means there will be both. When this horse is riding, there will be both physical death and also death of souls. Why am I saying that? Souls have to do with Hades, and death is physical, meaning there will be death, physical death, and many of those souls, or some of those souls, will be in Hades. I know some will call it hell, some call it Sheol, but it's called Hades in the version that I'm using, meaning some of those souls will not be saved. They will not go to heaven. Most of those souls, or many of those souls, will be going to Hades. And it said, remember, it said power was given to them. Which is them? It was given to them, the death and the Hades, for people to die physically, and also souls to go to hell. And this power was given to them over the fourth of the earth. And another question arises again to say, does this fourth of the earth refer to area, meaning an area which is the fourth of a certain land or a certain area, or fourth of the earth, meaning the area or quantity? For instance, people that live on earth. That is the question. So if it's referring to the quantity, that means fourth of the population of the earth will be killed by death, and they will go to Hades. So if, for instance, I've heard that there's about 8 million, sorry, not million, I think it's 8 billion people in the world, then if the fourth of the earth is killed, so it means there is about 2 billion people will be given to this horse. Meaning when this horse is riding, about 2 billion people worldwide will die physically. And there will be souls that are swallowed up by Hades, meaning who will not go to heaven. And power was given to them over fourth of the earth to kill with the sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beast of the earth. So if it's an area, the fourth of the earth is an area, then that means it's a certain, like an area that occupies the fourth of the land. But I mostly believe that it is about the people, not necessarily in a specific area, but it is counting the people worldwide. So it says to kill with a sword. That means war. Remember, we've spoken about war in the previous seal, which is the second seal. But here it tells us people will be killed with a sword. That means through war. And again, it says sword. It might be war. There might be weapons that will be used that represent that sword. It will be hunger. Remember, we've just read about hunger in seal 3. And then death. And this death, again, we've spoken about it, this physical death. But what could be the cause of that death? Because we cannot just say death. What could be the cause? There might be many causes. One of those causes might be diseases. So people would die, for instance, through diseases. It might be other things. And it says by the beast of the earth. Remember, with the previous seals, we've read about the war, we've read about the famine, which is the second seal, the third seal, and the fourth seal also now is talking about death. But we have not heard about the beast of the earth. Now there is something new that we are hearing now so far, that is the beast of the earth, which means that animals will be killing people. It wouldn't be said beast of the earth if it meant something else. It might be animals, meaning killing people, or some pestilences that come through animals. But it says beast of the earth. That means the beast will no longer just live in the wilderness. Or yes, now they will come. For instance, if there are animal who stays in forest, now they will come out. They will destroy the people. Hence, it says that they will be killed by the beast of the earth. So when I read this, brethren, it implies to me that these might be riding together at the same time. These horses might be riding together at the same time. Because now when you read all the killing of the war, the famine, the death, and the beast of the earth, it gives me an idea now that they will be riding together at the same time, meaning there will be war, there will be hunger or famine at the same time, there will be death. So these beasts will be riding together at the same time. And it might also be that hunger will be concentrated in one area. For instance, in one country or few countries there will be hunger, but in other countries there will be war, and in another the beast will be devouring people, etc. But at the same time, these will be happening, whether it's different areas, but they will happen concurrently, from what I understand here. So what do we do as a believer? So as a believer, we must take refuge in the Lord Jesus Christ. That is what I can. There is always hope, even in these events that do not sound to be favorable to us. But as a believer, remember, you have a refuge in Jesus Christ. That is why I'm encouraging you, brethren, to read and know Psalm 91 by heart. Know Psalm 91, because that is where, for instance, I'm not saying it's the only chapter in the Bible, but it is one of the chapters that will give you hope. We need to take refuge in the Lord Jesus Christ, even during these times, because it's not saying saying anything about the believer not being here. So when you are here as believers, we need to take refuge in the Lord Jesus Christ. The Lord is warning us of those things so that we may be able to prepare ourselves, so that we know what is going to happen. When the war starts, you know that the hunger will follow, you know that death will follow, you know that beast of the earth will devour people once that pale horse is open. And you know now these horses will be riding at the same time because you've read the book and understood it. Read Psalm 91, know it by heart, declare it upon yourself, where it says, for instance, where it says, surely he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler. Put yourself there. Say, surely he shall deliver me from the snare of the fowler. Just personalize that psalm. Personalize it, memorize it, know it, understand it, because you're going to need it in these last days. If it says he shall cover you with his feathers, says it, he shall cover me with his feathers, and under his wings I shall find, or I shall take refuge. His truth shall be my shield and buckler. You see now, brethren, there is hope. There is hope. Even by reading that psalm, it's strengthening you to know. It's strengthening you and to reminding you to know that the Lord will be with us even in difficult times.